What's going on, everybody? It's been a minute, but I'm back, and I want to talk about the NBA MVP race because it has been going crazy now that Joel Embiid has gotten injured. Personally, I believe it's good for basketball that Embiid is not going to be the MVP. Why do I say that? I might sound biased, but I generally just do not believe Joel Embiid is the most valuable player in our league at all. And though he's putting up the statistics and though he's having the crazy games, when any casual to, immersive fan besides the Philadelphia 76er fans look at the NBA, nobody's thinking Embiid is the most valuable player. Like, nobody that is immersed in NBA content or any casual fan would think that unless you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan. So I think it's good for basketball, but I'm not wishing on the man's downfall. I'm glad he's not the MVP because I didn't think he was. But there's 5 guys that I'm going to be listing, and I'm going to be giving their case for MVP. Then at the end, I'm going to be telling you in what order I would put these guys, and I'm just going to go in depth on every single one of these 5 guys. So these are the 5 guys in the MVP race for me. The first is Luka Doncic. As you know, if you've been watching me, you know I got Luka in there. The second is Nikola Jokic. If you've been watching me, you also would know I have Nikola Jokic in there. I've got SGA in there. That's common knowledge. I've spoken that before. He is that guy. You have Jason Tatum. I put him in the race. He's the number 4 guy, and I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's what the NBA has on NBA.com right now in their MVP race right now. So over the All-Star break, it hasn't changed much. So this is probably their top 5. But I also think that this is the top 5. I'm not going to go against that. I think that this is the top 5. I would have Jalen Brunson in there. I would have Brunson at around 6 or 7. I was thinking the Knicks were, lower than they are. They're doing pretty good right now. And the fact that Brunson is not at least at 6 and 7 on NBA.com is kind of crazy. But I wouldn't have him in the top 5 just because of the talent. I mean, he's not going to beat out Tatum or Giannis. And we know the top 3s are locked between Luka, SGA, and Jokic. So, he's not there, but he's close. But let's get into it. I'm rambling on. Let's go. So I'm going to start with Giannis Antetokounmpo because Giannis by far is the most dominant player on this list. He's Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what you're going to get. He gives, for one, 100% when he goes out there and hoops. And, seeing Pat Bev go over to the Bucks gives a different dynamic to me, understanding how Giannis Antetokounmpo is, because he's going to report and be real. And he talked about how when he went from the Bucks versus being on the Sixers, everybody on the Bucks wants to win. And Giannis is going 100% every single game. He's not going to sit out. He's not like Giannis is that guy. You know what you're going to get with Giannis. And Giannis is dominant. He's averaging 31 points per game, 6.4 assists per game, 11.2 rebounds per game, 61% from the field. And he's just been great this season. And Giannis is doing what you expect Giannis to do. And his case for MVP stands as it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. And it's just some players that are that good that are always going to be in the top 3 player in the NBA conversation. If they're not hurt, they're always going to be in the race. And Giannis is probably going to be one of those guys. He's already got, his 2 MVPs. And so he's just going to be one of those guys that is just always going to be in the race. And so, I don't think there's much else to say. He's not doing anything too much more crazy than what he was doing last season, but it's just, he's Giannis. So he's in the race. With Jason Tatum, I think that he is more of a guy that most people don't give much credit to. His team right now is sitting at 42 wins, best team in the league. And Jason Tatum is having one of those seasons that reminds me of when Paul George didn't get the MVP a few years back with OKC when he was averaging like 28. He's having one of those years. He's averaging 27 points per game, 4.8 assists, basically 8.6 rebounds per game, which is big time. People don't talk about that a lot. He's almost averaging 9 rebounds per game, almost a double-double. And he's 47% from the field, 36% from 3. The only reason I wouldn't have him higher, like I would want him, really in that race, it's just efficiency. He's only 47% from the field. And, when you're talking about the most valuable player in our league, you have to talk about the fact that you have to show up in the playoffs. Not that Tatum hasn't shown up. I'm a Warriors fan. I've seen him cook all the way to the finals. But then in the finals, he wasn't as good as he was supposed to be against my Dubs in 2022. And last year, they talk about it too. But Tatum, he shows up. It's just he's not, like, he hasn't shown enough because when people say, oh, it's just a regular season award. That's not true. It's never just been a regular season award. There's more to it than just the regular season, right? Unless you're doing something extravagant like what Russ West was doing, averaging a triple-double, like they had to give him the MVP, right? But unless you're doing something like that, it is a playoff award too, because Harden didn't get it. Harden was averaging like 36 and 9 or something, right? And he didn't get it because in the playoffs, like, what are you doing, right? So personally, I'm gonna be honest. I can't give it to Tatum yet. because I like Tatum. I rock with Tatum. I like Tatum a lot. Like I remember when he came in, I was watching the Celtics a lot when Tatum first came in because Kyrie was over there and everybody was watching the Celtics because of Kyrie. And man, I saw him and he I think his first season he was averaging like 15 a game. Tatum, and he just kept getting better. But I'm gonna be honest though, like he's not there yet. Like he's not at MVP yet. I think depending on what he does in the playoffs this year and then next year, if he can be more efficient with it, if he can show up big time more and the narratives will start to change, I think Tatum can really be in that conversation. But right now, I would leave him at it. Now we got SGA. Now SGA is an interesting one because SGA, in my opinion, is, just so underrated. I'm gonna be honest, because I've came on here and the only video I've made about SGA, I've made 2 videos about SGA. One of them I made about SGA is when I was praising him. I was saying he was like, the best point guard in the league at the time. And you know what? Nobody saw that video. People did see the video in which I said that he wasn't the MVP, and that was like a month or so ago. And so everybody was hating on me for that video. But I like SGA, man. And he earned my respect when, and somebody was clowning me in the comments for saying this, but he earned my respect when he was playing against the Dubs early in this season, because I'm a Curry fan, and we haven't seen anybody go against Curry in this way since Kyrie Irving, and that's why I respect Kyrie, right? And so he just reminded me of that, because you talking about Steph Curry, he's the face of our league. To be able to just sun him out there, like not a lot of people do that. And so I was just watching him. I was like, dang. And it's not like he was trying to taunt Curry. It wasn't like on some Jaylen Brown stuff. It was like he was actually, like just hooping on that level, and he was like being serious about it. I saw him in the All-Star game, and the commentators were just doing him dirty. Like they weren't even talking about Dog. They just literally, like, he was doing all this stuff in the All-Star game, and they were just talking about other people. Like, he gets no real media attention, but he's cold. He's averaging, 31, 6.5 assists, 5.5 rebounds. The thing is, he's shooting at 55% from the field, 37% from 3, but the 55% of the field, man, it's ridiculous. He's really great, man. But I would say, for me to, like, look at him and be like, he's definitely in the race, but he's in the top 3 race, and it could go to him. But for me to look at him and definitively say he's the MVP, he would have to take it to another level. He's too close to Luka and Joker right now for me to put him at that level right now. So we're gonna wait on. Now we got Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is my guy. I think I've made more videos about Nikola Jokic than any other player in the NBA, just because of how much disrespect he was getting back in the day. I say back in the day, I'm talking about a couple years ago, before he got his first MVP, or maybe it was his second. People were hating on Dog and never give him no attention. But I've been talking about Jokic. I've been on that train, and Jokic is that guy. I think of all these players, he is probably the most qualified as the best player in the league. If not, he's number 2. Because personally, I do think Luka Doncic is the best player in the NBA. That's just my personal opinion. I think he is. But like over time, to have that title, who am I content with giving that title to? Would have to be Jokic. And I would have no problems with saying that because it's Nikola Jokic. So he's that guy. I mean, he's averaging 26 points, 9.1 assists, 12.12 rebounds, 58, 35% from 3, 58% from the field. I mean, and he is almost averaging a triple-double as a center. People don't talk about this often, but he's literally nearly averaging a triple-double as a center. And people are like, oh, he's not the MVP. He's not the MVP. He's literally averaging a triple-double nearly as a center. He's 1 assist away from averaging a triple-double as a center. I think him being at number 1 right now is cool, especially with his team being the best team in the West. In my opinion, yes. Give it to him. Now we have Luka. I'm going to talk about Luka because Luka is who I think is the real MVP on this list. The problem is his team seeding right now is not at the best, and I'm going to check their seeding. It's lower, but it's rising. I think they've won maybe their last 8 games. They've been cooking, and I was talking about it in a few videos back when they got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. I said, oh yeah, this team is about to be nice. And I think they're about to keep climbing in the standings. And I'll go ahead and tell you where they are right now. They are the 6th seed, and right now they're 1 game behind the 5th seed. They're 3 games behind the 4th seed. If they get to top 4, it's Luka. Luka's averaging 34, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, 49% from the field, 37% from 3. He is the MVP of this league right now. His team is just not there. They're the 6th seed. You can't win the MVP as a 6th seed. He has proved it in the playoffs. He's been to the conference finals before. Luka is that guy. He's the MVP. It's not close. But It just depends on if his team can get to the top 4, top 3 seed. I think they can if they keep winning, and if they do, it's Luka. But right now, it's really between Luka and Joker, and we'll see. I think it just depends on standings. Who's higher standing? But I have Luka. If you want to hear me talk about Luka, I've had so many videos in the past few weeks on Luka. Go watch them. The man is just that guy. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you my top 5 of this list. So number 5, I have Jason Tatum. At number 4, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. At number 3, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At number 2, I have Luka Doncic for right now, because he's number 6 in the seedings. So until he gets that up, he's got to be number 2. Number 1, I have Joker. We'll come back to this at the end of the season. It just depends on standings. Right now, it's between Joker and Luka. And to be honest, it just depends on who gets the higher seed. That's who I give it to. I think this is a reasonable take, but people are going to disagree, obviously. You're going to disagree if I had your best player, your favorite player, not there, but it is what it is. I'll catch you guys later. I got to go. So, yeah, peace out.